Hello my sweet friends, welcome back. Today I'm going to be sharing some tips on how to finish your first draft. A few months ago I finished the first draft of my novel. It's the first draft I've ever completed. Right now I am working on revisions and working on draft 2. I thought I would share some of my tips for completing your draft 1 of your novel because I just finished mine and it was a really cool feeling. And I really want all of you to be able to feel that as well, because I know there are so many people who have ideas for stories and are working on stories but can't seem to finish a whole draft, because I was there. I hope these help. These are some ways that I was able to. So yeah. So first, make a decision to commit to finishing your draft. Writing a novel is a lot of work. It's a very long process, and you really need to make that decision to commit to it and really stick to a goal. Something that kind of helps me is setting a date, or at least like a tentative date time period to finish your draft by. My current novel, I didn't start it, I did most of it during NaNoWriMo of 2018. That was a huge help. I definitely recommend Nano to anyone who is trying to finish a draft of their book. But definitely set goals, know what you're doing, know what you're heading into, really commit to doing this because it's a really big deal. Be flexible, know your strengths, know your goals, know what you're doing, and really try to commit to writing this draft. Get motivated also, that's a really helpful thing. Inspire yourself, get motivated. I like to watch other AuthorTube videos about finishing a draft or drafting or writing or anything like that, writing blogs, stuff like that. Surround yourself with encouragement and motivation and inspiration, and try to limit distractions and just make sure your environment is good to go for when you start this. Number 2, stay consistent. You have to have a schedule or a habit going into this. You have to make it a habit, and you have to know what you're doing. Block out writing sessions, set aside time to write. You really need to make sure you have the time and you have the willpower really to get it done. And that's the nice thing about NaNoWriMo. If you haven't done it, I highly recommend it. It's such a good tool and resource for being able to finish a draft. That's how I finished mine. I probably would not have my current novel finished or where it is if I hadn't done NaNoWriMo. I got those 50,000 words in 1 month, which I thought I could never do, and I did it, and it was so nice and so helpful. So definitely just utilize resources like that and make sure that you're really staying consistent with your goals. Don't edit your writing. Write fast, don't edit, don't care about perfection. That was something I struggled with a lot also, which is a big reason why I couldn't finish it for so long. I was always worried about making sure it was good, making sure the words and the sentences were sounding good, but it really is important to just get the words down on paper so you can edit it later. So write fast, don't edit, and I know that's a huge thing to get over, but I promise you, once you can get over that hump, and I still struggle with it, but once you kind of get over that initial fear of not being good enough, it's a lot easier to finish the whole draft. Next is to have some sort of plan. I really like to outline. That's a huge help for me. I have an outline, a very detailed outline. I like structure and stuff like that. I understand though that there are people who are not as big of a plotter as I am. So there are plotters and there are pantsers, and I understand the pantsers don't always want or do use an outline. Either way, you have to have a plan. You have to know what you're doing and getting into. Regardless of whether you're a plotter or a pantser, I feel like you're not going to be able to get very far if you don't have some sort of plan of what you're doing. Again, I use a scene outline. I will link that above and below if you want to go check it out. That is how I organize all the scenes in my novel. Again, I know not everyone likes to use an outline, but I would definitely say have something. You have to have some sort of plan. And even if you don't, I think you can still go into it and still write, but I don't think it will be as easy or as smooth of a process if you don't have one. It'll be a lot better, in my opinion, if you have an outline, is what I'm trying to say. Or a plan, at least. Number 5, track your progress. This is super motivating and helping? This is super motivating and helpful to be able to see all your progress, especially if you are like a visual person, to be able to see how your progress has been going and like the little graph and stuff like that. Another helpful thing about Nano, because they have a little tracker thing on the website that you can see. I know this sounds like I'm really like plugging NaNoWriMo. I just love it. I just think she's neat. But yeah, it's super helpful and motivating just to be able to see that, be able to track your progress, see how you're doing. You can even like reward yourself when you hit certain milestones and stuff like that. It's just a good way to like keep your spirits high and keep that motivation and energy throughout the whole process. And last but not least, just do it. Just do it. I'm doing the Shia LaBeouf thing. You have to put in the work. Nothing's gonna happen. You're not gonna do it. You're not gonna be able to write it if you don't just write it. You have to just write it. I know that sounds super not helpful and a lot harder than it sounds, but that's the truth. No one else is gonna do it for you. This is your own unique story to yourself, and that's a beautiful thing, but you have to write it to be able to get it out there. It won't be done until you write it. And I know that can be scary or daunting of a task, but it's also the most beautiful and freeing sentiment, in my opinion, because no one else can do that. No one else can do what you're doing. We can all write books, we can all be great writers, but you are the only one who can tell your specific story that you are trying to tell, and that is so cool. I have my own story, you have your own story, but in order for those stories to actually get out there and be able to be shared and make a difference in people's lives, you have to write it. So just do it. Don't let things like fear or anxiety or comparison and comparing yourself to other writers or comparing your work to other works, don't let that stand in your way, because that's not helpful, that is negative and bad and detrimental to your whole writing process. So you just gotta write it. And you are a writer, that is why you're here, that is why you're watching this, because you have a story to tell, you are a writer, you can do it, you just gotta write it. That's all that's in your way, that's all you have to do. And I know that sounds scary and it's like, well, that's a much bigger thing than just writing it. But if you are a writer and you have a story to tell and you are passionate about that story, you will find a way to get those words on paper and get that story out there. That's all I have for y'all today, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you're new, I hope you'll stick around. I love you all very much, whatever you're going through. I hope you're having a great day, and I'm always here for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.